Regular paper. Similar polygons. Similar, basically what this means is that they're going to be proportional. Right, it's going to be shrunk down or made bigger. And in order for them to be similar, all corresponding angles have to be or are congruent. And then the second one is all corresponding sides. They won't be congruent because then they'd be congruent polygons, proportional. And then the scale factor, all this does, a scale factor tells you how much something shrinks or expands. So if you've got a scale factor of say 4, that means it's 4 times bigger. If you got a scale factor of 1/2, that means it's half the size. So if something gets bigger, if it gets bigger, the scale factor has to be more than 1. Okay? If the scale factor, if it shrinks, the scale factor would have to be less than 1, but between 0 and 1. So if it shrinks, it would be the scale factor, I'll just call it x, is greater than or equal to 0, but it's less than 1. It's a fraction. Now, sometimes the scale factor, they try to trick you. If a scale factor is 5/2, is that going to get bigger or smaller? Bigger, because 5/2 is what? 2.5, right. So it's more than 1, so it's going to get bigger. So a lot of these today is you're just going to say whether or not they're similar. And if they are, you got to write a similarity statement. These are just like when we wrote congruence statements. If you remember when we had the triangles, if they were congruent to each other, you had to write the congruent statement. Triangle ABC is congruent, and then you'd have to put them in the same order. A is the same as X, so I'd have to put X first since I put A first. B and Z would be the same, right? So I'd have to put Z, and then Y and C are the same. The difference is a similarity statement doesn't use a congruent sign. It just has the squiggly mark without the equal. So anytime you see a sign like that, that means similar. So to check these, to see if it's similar, F and K are the same because they have 3 marks, 3 marks. G and L are the same, H and M, N and J. So all the corresponding angles are congruent. Then the sides. 8 corresponds to 6. Now, what you could do is just reduce each one. 8 over 6 reduces to 4/3. Then 16 corresponds to 12. Does that reduce to 4/3? Yes. 12 to 9. You can divide both those by 3, and you get 4/3. And then 20 to 15. You can divide them both by 5, and you get 4/3. So all of them reduce to the same fraction, which means they're proportional. So that would be yes, these are similar. And then the scale factor, it doesn't matter what you do with the first one. You can start anywhere. Usually we go alphabetical, but it wouldn't be wrong if you didn't. So I would just call this FGHJ. I just went this way. You could call it GHJF or FJHG, whatever you want. It's similar, and then the second one you got to do the same. F and K are in the same position, so since I put F first, I got to put K, and then you just follow it around the same way. F or KLMN. Everyone understand what I mean when I say they gotta be in the same order?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they didn't ask it here, but if they asked for the scale factor, any idea what the scale factor would be? So, what is it? 4/3. Whatever the sides reduce to, that's your scale factor, but it's kind of a trick. If it's going from bigger to smaller, then it would be 3/4. If it's going from smaller to bigger, it would be 4/3, right? But if they told you to find the scale factor of FGHJ to KLMN, that means you'd put this one first, which it would be the top number, right? To the second one. So if they tell you what order to put it in, then you put it in that order. Alright? So here we got the triangles. We're not sure about the angles. So right away I'd say no. And then if you check the sides, 8 corresponds to 7. That won't reduce, right? 6 corresponds to 5. That won't reduce. Are they equal?
No.
No. So you just put no. So if it's no, you can't write a similarity statement, you just put no. But right off the bat, I could have put no because I only know one set of angles. You got to know if all 3 angles are good. So this one is just like we've done before. If they take a picture and they make it into a poster, they got to do it proportionally or it gets distorted. So if they want it to be 26 inches wide, you can figure out the height just by writing a proportion. So again, you can set it up however you want as long as you follow the same pattern. I can put the height of this compared to the height of the picture. Following the same pattern, I'd have to put what over what? 26 over 4. So these are nothing new.
No.
So once you set it up, you solve it. 39. So, if 2 polygons are similar, you could find the scale factor, right?
Yeah.
By just taking a side over a side. You don't need to do all 4 of them because they all reduce to the same thing. If they ask you to find the ratio of the perimeters, it's exactly the same as the ratio of sides, which is exactly the same as scale factor. So this, and this will always be the same answer. Scale factor, ratio of sides, ratio of perimeters. So again, they tell us that these 2 are similar, so we got to find x. So all you got to do is set up a proportion. X corresponds to 2. So following that pattern, since I put x on top, I'd have to put 9 on top, and that corresponds to 6. So it'd be 9 times 2 is 18, divided by 6 is 3. Nothing very difficult. Okay, similar triangles. I think, yeah, we learned this before. If 2 angles, like this angle is congruent to that, this is to that,
No.
the third ones have to be equal then.
Yeah.
Remember we learned that before?
Yeah.
If you know 2 of them, the third ones have to be. So the angles are, so to verify they're similar, we got to check the sides. 9 corresponds to, this is the shortest side, so there's the shortest side. So that's 3 halves. 12 corresponds to, that'd be the 8, because it's the middle side. You can divide them both by 4, you'd get 3 halves. And 15 corresponds to 10. You can divide them both by 5 and you get 3 halves. So they are similar, so we got to write the similarity statement. would be triangle PQR is similar. Since I put P first, I would have to put V, because they're equal. And then since I put Q, I'd have to put T. And then S is the third one. And they also ask for the ratio of perimeters. What is the ratio of the perimeters? Right, 3:2. If they ask for the ratio of the sides, it'd be 3:2, 3 over 2. If they ask for the scale factor, it'd be 3 over 2. Okay, again, this whole chapter is basically finding sides by using proportion stuff. So since they're similar, to figure out x, x to 8 has to equal 15 to 20. So it'd just be 8 times 15 divided by 20. Now remember, you could set these up another way. I could go x to 15. If I did this to this, I'd have to go 8 to 20. Either way, you're multiplying 15 times 8 and then dividing by 20. And you get 6.